Hello, everybody. C. Ray Brower here with Your Perfect Home, and I have Leah Garcia, and we are going to come back and we're going to find out about living trust for baby boomers and a whole bunch more. We'll talk to you in just a minute.
All right.
Oops. I guess we'll just get right into it because I can't find it.
Well, I could do the intro for you. I could tap dance. I could sing. No, I can't do any of that. None of that's happening right now.
So how are you today, Leah?
I am fabulous. It is a beautiful day in downtown Monterey.
Well, here in Cherryvale, Kansas, it is raining and there's tornadoes in several places around us right now.
Whoa. No tornadoes here in Monterey. We've got, I'm pretty sure the sun's going to come out later. It's a little overcast right now, but probably about 11, 12 o'clock, we'll probably see some sun.
Yep. That's pretty normal for the coast this time of year. A little marine layer in the morning and then kind of looks nice in the afternoon.
Yeah, we get a little window, a little speckle of sunshine. So when you see it, you got to go out there and grab it because it probably won't last long.
Enjoy it while you can, huh?
Exactly.
Perfect. Anything else exciting been going on?
Oh, just back from our Las Vegas convention. That was amazing, incredible. It's so inspirational. And, since we've been zooming and booming, we don't see each other live like we used to every month. So it was wonderful catching up with really colleagues, but really more like, dear friends and really like family. So that was a lot of fun. Spent some time in Vegas, which it was wonderful, 115 degrees there. And we went out to ice cream one night. It was like 10 o'clock at night. It was 100 degrees. And so I went onto my little maps and I saw that the weather in Monterey was 54. I'm like, look at you guys. This is what's happening in Monterey. I'm not used to this sunny weather, but it was a lot of fun. How about you? I see you've been just helping so many families. I love it. I love seeing all your success. And I know that families are really benefiting from your AI and those additional upgraded services that you have.
Yeah, we're we're here in Kansas right now, getting looking at some of the lots that we're going to be building on, and then picking up some new acquisitions. So yeah, we've been busy here and or productive, I should say.
Yeah.
Try not to say busy. I try to stay productive.
Absolutely. And right now, with so much uncertainty in the market, you really, really need a realtor who has your expertise and experience at this point.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But living trust for baby boomers, us old guys. Speaking of baby boomers, did you see the? I think it was on Instagram. One of my shorts from our previous interview. Somebody posted, "Oh, boomers doing AI."
Really? Hey, I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen X. However, most of my friends are boomers, and they can learn a thing or two, right? It just takes us a little bit more time, but we're right there. I mean, I know during the pandemic, everybody learned how to use Zoom. They probably couldn't spell Zoom BC right before but now they're Zooming with their family, with their grandkids. So we can learn a new trick or two.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, like I said, when in that interview, I've always been a geek. So
there you go.
But anyway, living trust for boomers. What's new and exciting, or what can we bring to our audience out here to let them know a little bit more about why they should?
Absolutely. So I think of a living trust. I have a little acronym. People think a will has the same power as a living trust. And really, they're two separate entities. But if you structure your legacy correctly, your estate planning correctly, you will have them both and they will work together.
Right.
So oftentimes I hear people refer to, they passed away without a will. They died, they didn't have a will. It's really more than that. it requires to have the living trust component. So I made a little acronym for us today.
Okay.
WILL, will. So what does the W stand for? It stands for wishes. If you only have a will in place, it's basically your wishes on what you would like to have happen. However, that will still has to be validated, meaning it has to go through the court mandated probate process. And I don't know if you're familiar with probate, you've heard about probate. It is lengthy, could take years. I think in California, the average probate is about 18 months. However,
Right.
I've seen probate that's lasted years and even decades. So that's, it could be lengthy, it's costly, and it's public. So now everything you've owned is now public. It's printed in so it's just a mess. So a will is simply your wishes, and it
Right.
still has to go through that probate process.
Yeah.
So, and
Being a probate certified, I do understand that completely.
there you go. And you know what? That in Monterey, it's incredible. I go to probate court. They have it on Wednesdays, and I'm just amazed. I go there because to learn, so that I can really see what's happening and keep it top of mind for me, keep it fresh. And I'm watching the family after family that are just decimated by not having the proper documents in place. And probate certification is huge. So I'm glad that you have that additional certification,
Yeah.
because not just any realtor can handle a property that is going through probate. There's a lot of, there's a lot that is behind that. So that's the W. The W. So then the next letter is I, incapacity. Oftentimes people think a living trust is about leaving my things to someone when I die. But you know what? It's so much more than that. If you should become incapacitated, meaning you cannot speak for yourself, and you know what? That is not relegated by your age. My 19-year-old nephew was in a truck versus motorcycle accident. He was in the motorcycle. He was in a coma for 4.5 months.
Wow.
His mom had to go through a whole process, expensive, to be able to make those medical decisions for him.
Right.
So incapacity is if something were to happen, an accident or something, and you're unable to speak for yourself, who can make those financial decisions? Who can not just be signers on your checking account, but also pay your bills? So really big, really important, especially if you're a business owner as well. Who can keep the finances going, and who can make those medical decisions? They're referred to as medical directives. That's one of the terms, but it's basically who can make those medical decisions about medications and surgeries and things of that nature.
Yep. Yep. It is. Having lived through it with mom and dad. I understand that side of it really well. Also, my dad had become a little incapacitated. Mom had been in convalescent care for many years. Could not speak a sentence. She could sometimes get a few words out, but the rest of it was just gibberish. And dad had got behind on giving this correct stuff so that she could remain on Medi-Cal and or Medicare. And the state was after him. I got involved when the convalescent home finally called me and said, "Oh, I'm glad your dad finally gave us your contact information." Of course, that upset me because I come in to see my mom and they know I'm the only sibling that was coming in. But they, God, we glad he finally gave us, because next month we have to start eviction proceedings on your mom. So what do you mean eviction? She's on Medicare. There's no eviction. I mean, you're getting paid. No, we're not. Your dad hasn't got this stuff done. And here, go ahead and contact this company. And we've already got it set up with them. All you have to do is work with them and they'll get it taken care of. But he was $85,000 in arrears on mom's payments because he hadn't got this stuff to them. So I understand that interest and incapacitation very well.
Absolutely. And I hear these stories all the time. I mean, that story, unfortunately, you were there to help kind of put the pieces back together.
Right.
But oftentimes, family members are even more confused because they're coming in midstream. They don't know what Medicare is, Medicaid, long term care. I mean, all these terms that we might have heard, we don't really understand what they actually mean and how they will impact us personally as our loved ones is going through that. So
Yeah.
that's so, so huge. Thank you for sharing that story, CJ.
Yeah.
That is, Ray, that is so huge. It really is.
Yeah.
So that is the I, incapacity. The L, the first L is for lawyers. So I don't know about you, but I don't want a bunch of lawyers in my stuff. Well, without all the proper documents in place, really it's an invitation for that. And that's really how what you're going to leave your loved ones with. Lawyers who don't know you, a judge, a court probate process. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's not personality driven. They're not going to look at your story. They're not going to see what incredible family you had and what your intentions were. It really just goes through the system.
Right.
And many times if it's something goes through probate, it's basically going to be liquidated.
Yeah.
Especially if there starts to be some people who are arguing and contesting. So the court doesn't really want to deal with that. So the court will recommend probably a lot of times to go ahead and sell the estate, and then they pay all the fees, and then the family kind of distributes what's left.
And oftentimes that isn't very much.
That's a great point, because they're going to sell it at a fire sale. They need it done. Well, this, it has their certain time parameters, time constraints. So it has to be sold, and all those taxes and fees and penalties and all of that has to be paid.
Yep.
And that is a court's primary focus. It is not about your legacy. It's really paying the fees that are dictated by your state, wherever you are in your neck of the woods.
Yep. Your state and the lawyers that are dealing with it, and all that stuff that just keeps snatching money.
It does. And really quick, I probably should give a disclaimer. I should have given this beforehand, but I'm a financial professional. I am not an attorney. I'm not a tax professional. So this is not tax or legal advice. But what I do is I work along with the attorneys, and my role is to help people to get prepared and organized. So just a little disclaimer here.
Yeah. And my disclaimer, I am not either. I'm a realtor. And yes, again, it is definitely not legal or tax advice in any way. We're just imparting information that we have
absolutely
come across. Absolutely. And I got to live personally. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And really good point here too is that this process is not a once and done. This is a living trust, meaning that it should evolve and change and grow with you. So maybe as a younger family, you might need different planning, but then as you accumulate wealth, you might need to add some additional layers. It's about having a plan, a process, and layers of protection.
And making sure that you're working with the right person. That's another thing that my dad had to go through when mom became incapacitated. He went to pull her out of the trust so that she could be on Medicare, because you can't have assets if you're on Medicare. Went to pull her out of the trust, and he had no authority to do that.
Right.
The lawyer that wrote up the trust made the lawyer the successor trustee. When dad went looking for him, he couldn't find him. And he asked me, "What do you think?" And I said, "Only one of two things, Dad. He's either dead because he's been doing this to a lot of people and somebody put him in some concrete tennis shoes, or he did it to enough people and he's got enough money, he's living in the Bahamas or something on everybody else's money, and he because he had literally disappeared. There was no trace of him anywhere."
And you
So
know what? That is
cost me like $15,000 to have the redone. Had to go in front of 3 judges because mom was incapacitated. She can't talk for herself now, and so yes, it was an ugly ordeal. So you definitely need to make sure you're working with the right professional.
absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why when I talk to, excuse me, when I talk to families and I ask them, you have all these assets, you have businesses and real estate and, 401ks and all of this. Why has it taken to this point to start this process? And you know what the answer is, C. Ray?
No,
I don't like attorneys. We don't trust attorneys. Now, I love attorneys. I know a lot of them. I work with them all the time, but they can feel intimidating to us average people,
right.
right? We don't understand the nomenclature of the business. We don't know all the process. We don't understand all the words. Attorneys have all this education and they sit there and they can be intimidating.
Yeah, very, very intimidating. Yes.
So I love being able to kind of handhold the client and soften those edges. And part of what I do is I match them up with a vetted attorney that is going to be the most suited, that I believe will be the most suited for that client, not only their situation, financial situation, but also their personality. You're going to talk to the attorney and you're going to tell them everything about you.
Yeah.
You really have to feel kind of a relationship with them and also know that there's somebody that they're not, really have your best interest at heart.
Absolutely. That's one thing that doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an attorney, a realtor, a financial advisor, um, the guy selling you shoes. I mean, um, I had one of my friends ask me. He says, "I've seen you put realtors on your podcast. Why do you do that?" I said, "Why not?" "Well, they're your competition." I said, "Well, yeah, they are, but I resonate with my tribe.
Right,
I am who I am, and if I'm out and I'm completely transparent, I resonate to my tribe.
right.
Whoever else that I bring on has a whole different personality than me
Yeah.
and will resonate to a whole different clientele than me. Certainly there will be some crossover, but I've always believed that there's enough business for everybody."
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really love about you is that you're so humble, even though you're knowledgeable, you really put the client's best interest at heart. And sometimes that means sending them over to someone else that you know is going to take good care of them.
Yep.
And you know what? That in turn, I always say giver's gain.
It, I'm a member of BNI, so yes.
You are? There you go. Is that their motto?
That's their motto. Giver's
Oh my
gain.
gosh, that's great. Oh, there you go. I truly, truly, truly believe that. And I love that philosophy. I love that concept.
Yeah.
So the second L is for love letter. This
Is
is
what?
really the love letter.
Love letter. So it's really 2 L's.
It could be two L. It could be the double L. That's right. It's love letter.
The willow.
Two L's are better than one, so that's good. I'll take that every single day and twice on Sunday, right?
Yep.
So that love letter, this is the last letter that you can leave to your family. A living trust is not just about your things and setting things up and distributing your assets. It's also your story, your legacy. Part of a living trust is leaving the words behind it. Wealthy people don't just leave things, they leave the wisdom. So this love letter could include things like, your story, how you accumulated what you have, the things that you went through, and transferring that knowledge and wisdom. And that's how we create not just wealth, but generational and multi-generational wealth.
I
And
like.
so it's so incredible because oftentimes I sit down with a family and they say, well, you know what, Leah, I don't have a story. I grew up, I got married, we bought some stuff, and now, we're ready to go off into the golden years and such.
Right.
But you know what? When you peel back the onion, every single person has a story. Every single person has a story. Even if people that think they don't have a story, oftentimes I find they have the most incredible stories. I
Very,
said,
very true.
I sat down with a family, two brothers, and they owned the property 50-50. It was in a living trust, and they inherited from their mother. And they said, you know what, Leah, we don't do much. We don't have much. We don't have a story. And so I started to look around and I saw some different things. And so I started asking them some questions about some little knickknacks I saw. And then there was this picture, a poster, like a poster hanging up of a boxer. I said, wow, that's a really neat photo. Who is that? And the brother looks at the other brother. He's like, that's me. I said, what? That's you? And then they started telling me about his boxing history and the matches he won. I said, oh my gosh, there's your story. You've got a story. So everyone has a story. And
Yeah.
you might think you've told your children their story, and you probably have. Because I know he told his kids, they know about his boxing history, and they probably, heard it a million times, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's dad telling his story. How different is it for your children, grandchildren, great grandchildren to hear the story as it's passed down in tradition? How different would it be for them to hear your story firsthand through your eyes and your experience?
Yeah.
And setting up a living trust, we can put together all of that.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very,
So
very
that was
cool.
really fun. That was so, so fun. And then they started to get into it. And then he started telling me different stories. And then I found out they're actually related to some higher up. Because he was a boxer, he also was like a bodyguard for some very well-known people. And I won't name drop here, but
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
oh,
Can't
and
name
he
drop.
gave me pictures. And I said, oh my gosh. But see, this all came from someone who said, I don't have a story. We're
Right.
simple people. We don't
Right.
have much.
And everybody, as you said, has a story. It's whether or
Absolutely.
not they say it, whether or not they tell it. I when I had the transmission shop, I had a driver that was from Chase Chevrolet in Stockton, and he's in, bringing parts to me all the time, and we were always talking, and I don't even remember what story I was telling or how we even got into it,
Yeah.
but he said, see, Ray, you need to write a book. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah, you need to write a book. You've got so much knowledge and so many things that you've done, and you're just a great storyteller. So you should really write a book. And it's something that I have never done. It's something that now that I'm getting kind of old.
We're getting wiser.
I'm actually, starting to kind of pencil that out a little bit. So
That's
that
awesome.
that might be coming in the future
Absolutely. We're
after all
just
my other
listening.
books.
Yeah, we're just listening to something that's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I was listening to something this morning and they said everyone should write a book. And then they said, you know what? In the past, it might have been labor intensive. Now you can use AI and they can help you write it for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's still labor intensive, but not nearly as labor intensive as it used to be, for sure. And of
And
course,
probably much more affordable too.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. You can self-publish and get it on Amazon, and yeah,
Absolutely.
very cool, very cool. So, big plans for the weekend?
Yeah, big plans for the weekend. I've been out of town, so I am going to spend the day with my precious grandson. He's 4 years old, and I haven't seen him for almost 2 weeks. And for me, that feels like an eternity. So I've got a full day scheduled with him. We have our favorite ice cream place, and I had, how do you remember back in the day when we used to look through catalogs? Well, I don't know. Some people did. And you'd have like that Sears catalog, and we would,
Us older people used to look through catalogs.
right. We don't have those anymore. So what I did with him is we made an Amazon wish list, and we went through Amazon and we were putting all these things. So I told him, I said, and it came up to like $1,000.
Yeah.
But I said, remember, Mijo, we're not going to buy all of these. This is for a surprise, right? It's going to be for our surprise day. So I got a little surprise for him, and I'm just really excited to be able to, hopefully we'll be able to come out to the beach, and just going to spend some time playing in the mud and playing in the sand with my precious grandson.
Very, very cool.
How about you?
We're here in Kansas, so we're just humming away, being productive. Tomorrow, we need to go up to Wichita and pick up some mini splits and some heaters and some water heaters and what have you. We will spend a little time up there. One of our financial bankers up here, he does Christmas in July. He's a
nice.
big Christmas guy. So he's throwing a party. So we're going to go have a little barbecue and stuff up there on Saturday and do
Nice.
that. So
now, is Kansas is that a normal market for you, or is this a market you're opening up, or what's
kind of opening up here? I mean, me and my partner, he got started back here a long time ago, and then we started talking about doing the development, and so we've put lots and lots of hours into getting the whole plan going and meeting people and greeting people and making the connections to be able to get started. And now we're right in the middle of it. So
I love it.
yeah,
I love it. Sounds exciting.
We'll get my broker's license.
Yeah, you're gonna have to share more about that when you get it all together. You're gonna have to tell us more about that.
Yeah. We're working it through. We got our proof of concepts on the market, and we're getting ready to start breaking ground on some new. We got to get the lots deeded over from the city, and then we'll be working through that. So yeah.
Nice.
Exciting stuff.
Sounds like it.
New and exciting going on.
Love it.
Yep. So since we didn't get the banner on today, and I couldn't get the intro music going.
That's okay. You need me to sing?
Why don't you give everybody your contact information, Leah? Because if you need any help with financial stuff, Leah's a lady to speak to. So why don't you do that?
Absolutely. My name is Leah Garcia, financial professional, and my direct line is 408-625-0613. I'm located in beautiful downtown Monterey. However, I do have a team all throughout the U.S., so we can serve you U.S., Puerto Rico, and Canada. I'm also all over LinkedIn. You can find me on social media everywhere, Leah Garcia, CEO. And of course, just find C. Ray, and you'll see I'm tagging all his stuff and sharing all his stuff. So that's an easy way to get in touch with me.
You are the only person I know that's more prolific on social media than I am.
I'm stalking you all the time, C. Ray.
And I appreciate it. Everybody, again, if you need any help with a financial advisor, Leah is the person to talk to. Everybody remember C. Ray to find your perfect home. Of course, like, tag, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the stuff depending on where you're watching us today, because sharing is caring. And remember to see Ray to find your perfect home and go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. And we will all see you guys